Hi friends, today I'm experimenting with fabric flower making. It's been a while. Life sometimes gets in the way of our crafting. So today I'm working on just doing some additional flowers with fabric. Here I just traced around a circle. I believe it's a 1-inch circle. It might be bigger than that. I can't remember. I'm sorry. But then I am cutting strips of various colors and styles of fabric. And then I am fraying the edges of the fabric to get a little more texture on the flowers. I did use my pokey tool to help me do that on some of the fabrics. So I continue to do this with several different fabrics. Now I am cutting out some lace from a lace tablecloth that I had purchased at a thrift shop that had some damage to it. So I'm cutting some of the little doilies out and some of the little flower pieces out of there. I have used this particular tablecloth for a long time and I absolutely love it. I'm setting that aside, and now I am taking a circle that I punched out of some cardstock. And, you can use whatever size circle you want, depending upon what size of flower you want. I wanted mine fairly small, so I was just using, I think this is a 1-inch. So I was trying to just pinch that in the middle, seeing how that would work. I decided that wasn't really going to work the way I wanted it to, so now I'm just laying various pieces of fabric diagonally across that cardboard circle. This particular one, I decided I wanted to be more neutral in color. So the fabrics I'm using are basically neutral. So I'm continuing to do that. There's a little bit of yellow I put in there. I guess I thought that was a neutral. So this took me a while just because I always want everything to be perfect. So now I'm thinking, if you can't tell. I decided maybe I wanted a bigger piece in there, and then I decided, no, I didn't like that piece. So this is how you craft, right? You experiment and try different things and see if it works out to be what you like. And I tried to use various textures of fabrics also. This is a piece of Indian cloth. And it's rather coarse. So, and I continue to layer this fabric, trying to fill up the spaces in the flower as best I can. Tapping of the fingers always means you're thinking. So then I decided I wanted to look at putting one of those little flowers or snowflakes in the center of it. To see what that would look like. And then I believe I also took some of the fabric circles that I had been working with and kind of placed those under that lace flower, just again to add a little bit more texture. I think that was a piece of burlap maybe. So I'm looking at it wondering what else I need to do here. Well, I decided I didn't like the length of the spokes of the flower. So I believe I'm going to cut off some of the length of it. Cleaning up. I believe I was watching some television while I was doing this, so now I'm doing the same sort of thing for another flower, only this time I'm using some colored fabric. So it's the same process, just using various prints and colors of other fabrics. Trying to make the strips fairly even, but you know, these strips are probably, I don't know, maybe a half an inch at most. And I did the same thing with that one. And I put them on that circle. Now I'm deciding what else I want to do here, because I do know I want to make those petals a little bit shorter. Here I decided I was going to put a hole in the center of that one. Pretty tough going there, huh? Hope I don't stab myself. Okay. So now I'm trying to put a brad of some sort in there. And so I have gotten the brad in there now. It's a little pink brad. Now I'm just trying to decide if the flower is full enough and what else I may want to do with it. Okay, so now we're back to the neutral one. I believe I glued all of those strips on there. And so now I'm trying to decide what to do about the center of it. Okay, so I put some glue there because I was thinking about putting some type of a pearl or something, which I did do. I just used my glitter glue for that. On this one, I punched a hole in the middle of the cardboard, and then I'm just putting the fabric through that circle. Then I'm using some glue to glue the two sides together to make the petal. And then I decided I wanted to pinch those petals to make more of a point on the petal. I'm trying to figure out how to do that. Here I decided I'm going to cut the ends of the petals at an angle. and try and pinch them again. I added some, and I'm using art glitter glue here. I find that it works pretty good on fabric, so I'm pinching them. And it wasn't really staying the way I wanted it to, so but I continue on. I put another strip of fabric in there. I believe I put 3 strips of that fabric in there through the hole. And then went ahead and cut off the ends into that triangular. Now what I'm doing here is I decided I was going to twist the ends of those petals. And then I cut off just a tiny bit on the ends. Okay, so now I have 3. I think I would have liked to add more, but I didn't think that I really had the space to put any more in there. So I ended up just making additional petals and then gluing them on rather than putting them through the hole I had there. Like I said, these were all experimental things I was doing just to see what I could do. So here I'm just taking that strip of paper. I'm cutting it in strip of fabric. I'm cutting it in half. And then I'm taking one piece and gluing the 2 sides together. And then doing my little twist. Sorry, off the screen you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm twisting it. And then I'm deciding where I might want it in the scope of things on them. So I continue to do that with various sizes and strips of the fabric. Getting messy here with the glue. It's a good thing glue doesn't bother me being on my hands. It bothers my daughter because she's the one that does my nails. But so there again, I twisted it into that pointy kind of shape. Now I'm seeing, where I want to put it. And I continue to do that same process with various different lengths of the fabric strip. Now here, I took and I twisted a strip, and I'm basically wrapping it around and making somewhat of a rose for the center of it. And once I think I have it where I want it, then I'm going to cut off the fabric and glue it. I try it out there and see how it looks. So I decided now I was going to cut off the fabric. Okay. I can't see very well, so I'm always lifting things up to my eyes so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I am cutting off the excess fabric here. And then I'm kind of poking the end inside that little rose. I know this stuff is all kind of piddly, but that's kind of my thing. I like small piddly things, so that's what I'm doing here. These flowers will probably be used on journal covers or possibly some clusters, because they are a little bulky. They're not horrible, but they are a little bulky. So there we've got that, I think, tucked in like I want it. And now I'm going to take and glue that flower or that rose in on the center of it. That is, if I can keep it from falling apart. Okay. So now I'm adding my art glitter glue to the center, a fair amount of it. And I'm going to place that little rose that I made in the center. And I'm pressing it down, hoping that it will stay. Then I believe I decided, in order for it to dry really well, I was going to put a clip on it. So here I put a clip on it to let it dry. There we go. I guess it's okay. Next, I'm taking a lightweight handkerchief that I had found at a thrift store. It has a nice little edge on it. So I decided I'm going to cut the edge off of the handkerchief and use that to make a flower. So I'm cutting off the edge. And what I'm going to do with this is do basically the same thing that I just did with the center of that other flower, and make a rose. Now this, I'm doing a little differently. I'm not rolling up the strip of fabric. If you've ever seen I'm sorry you can't see what I'm doing, but if you have ever seen videos where they're making roses out of ribbon, this is the same concept. Okay, so now I'm coming back to the lace, and I've taken one of those lace doilies from the tablecloth, and I put some Fabri-Tac on it, and I'm going to fold it in half. And then I'm going to take some more Fabri-Tac around the edge of it, and I'm going to fold it again. Now I have taken a bigger cardboard circle, and I have put a doily on it. But what I did, first of all, is I took and I made a hole inside the middle of that doily. And again, I'm doing this as I go along, so it's just kind of, like I said, an experiment. So then I took a smaller piece of doily to use as a centerpiece on that. Here I'm moving on to another flower. This one I started with, I believe it was a 1-inch cardboard circle, and I am putting a eyelet in it. And I am, again, back to using strips of fabric. Now, I did take and put the strips of fabric through the eyelet. And actually, I think I put the strips of fabric through the hole, then I put the eyelet in there, and now I am covering the back of that flower with another cardboard circle. Okay. There's a cardboard circle for that one. And here are my flowers that I made. Hope you enjoyed this. Have a great day. Bye.